Yeah, students, are you able to see the PPT?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in last lecture, we were discussing about common gate amplifier, and this is the diagram which I have drawn here. Here, gate is common to the input side and output side. So for input section, here we have connected one source V in, which has to be amplified, and at the output section we have the resistances, load resistance and RDS. So effectively we have replaced those resistances which are in parallel into effective resistance, that is your RL, small RL, right? So V out, which we take across this small RL, will be ID into RL. ID is the drain current, right? So V out is equal to VID. ID we have already seen. We can represent ID in JFET model by GM in or GM VGS. So we have replaced the ID by GM in multiplied by RL. So the voltage gain will be V out by V in. So we rearrange this equation and we got GMRL. This is the voltage gain. Now we will see input impedance. Zin. Now we know that if this is our JFET, this is P material, internally it is connected, this is N channel, here we have gate, drain and source. In drain terminal we will have a drain current ID, and in the source terminal we will have the source current IS. So here ID and IS both will be same, right? Because basically the same current will pass through the source also, right? ID and IS is same. So now you see this diagram. Here ID is the drain current, and here you will find IS is the source current, and this you can also call it as I in. This is our input current, I in, right? So I in is equal to ID, right? Because source current and drain current both are same. So I in is equal to ID, and I in is equal to ID. We know that we represent ID by GM VGS, or you can call it as GM V in, right? Now input impedance. Z in will be our V in by I in, right? Okay, this is my I in expression number 1. This is my expression number 2, right? So now putting the value of I in from 1 in 2, right? We will put the value of I in from 1 in 2. So therefore we will get Z in is equal to V in divided by GM V in. We will cancel out these V in, so we will get Z in is equal to 1 by GM. Right? So this is the value of our input impedance, right? Now, generally, practically, let the value of GM is 4 millisiemens, right? Then you will get Z in is equal to 1 by 4 into 10 raised to the power minus 3, right? If you calculate this, then you will get it 250 ohm, right? So here in common gate JFET amplifier, in common gate JFET amplifier, Z in, that is input impedance, is low, right? So now see, if the input impedance is low, then you see, see, this is our, suppose, amplifier, source, drain, gate, right? And here we have connected the source, which has to be amplified, V in. So this source will have some resistance. Suppose we call it as RS, right? And here you will find the Zin, input impedance, and its value is also low, right? So if its value is low, then what you can do, you can replace here, you can write it here one Zin, right? And let us assume its value is 250 ohm, right? And the value of this RS, let us assume it is also quite low. So suppose this is 500 ohm. So now what will happen? Whatever is this voltage source you have attached, whose value you want to amplify, so there will be drop, maximum drop will be occur in this across this resistor, right? And here you will find very small amount of voltage is basically entering inside this amplifier for the amplification purpose, right? So if the input is very less for the amplification, so definitely in proportion you will get the output also, which is quite less. So here, due to that reason, the the gain of this amplifier will reduce. It will reduce, right? So due to this reason, right? Uh, Due to this reason, common gate amplifier has less application. Right? It has very less application, so it is generally not used. So if somebody ask you why common gate JFET configuration is not used for the amplification, so reason is the input impedance is low, right? So if input impedance is low, then less amount of input voltage will be available for the amplifier, right? So it has less input voltage, and output voltage is quite high. So that's why it is not suitable for the amplification purpose, right? So, right. So by this we can complete this, and now one topic is left in this unit, and that is your Miller's theorem, right? Miller's theorem. So now the thing is, when Miller theorem is used. So under what condition we shall use the Miller theorem, right? So what is that situation when we shall use the Miller theorem, right? So when basically a passive component, uh, when a passive component When a passive component. So what is the passive component? Can anyone tell me the example of passive component?
Capacitor, resistor, inductor.
Yes, means which the component which does not change the direction of the flow of current, right? That is passive component. And diode and transistor, those are active component which can change the direction of current also, right? So when the passive component is placed between input and output of a two-port network, right? So if you find this situation, for example, suppose this is our two-port network. Here this is the input port, right? Suppose I call it as 1 dash, and here we have output port 2 dash. Now in the input port, here we are having V in, we applied some voltage source, right? Now, no, at this port we are having some input voltage to this two port, and here we are having V out, right? This is the current, and here you can find current. Now here what we have done, so suppose at this point the resistance, if we are looking, this is our Vi by Is, right? And at this, if we are talking about the resistance RL, so it is V out by IL. Now suppose at this point and at this point, suppose these are the 2 points, we call it as A and B, right? A point is at the input side of our two-port network, and B point is at the output side of our two-port network, right? So 1 minute. So at this point, we have connected one passive component, right? Here, right? So now we have connected passive component. So here the currents will be represented like this: I1. This side it is represented as I2. Now at the two port, we are having input current here, and to the port, this is our I0. So the input resistance here at the two port side, you will have Ri is equal to Vi by I, and here you have the output resistance R0 is equal to V0 by I0. So now you just see this passive component Z, how we have connected. So see the statement: when a passive component is placed between input and output of a two-port network. So one end of this passive component is connected to the input of the two-port network, that is at point A, and another side is connected to the output of this two-port network, that is point B, right? So if you find this type of situation, then we use the Miller theorem, right? Because you just see, if suppose this is a two-port network, suppose, right? This is a two-port network, and suppose here we have connected some load resistor, and here we are connecting some resistor. We have connected this one resistor R, and this resistor is connected only to the output port, right? So the analysis of this circuit is very easy. Simply here you have to apply these are connected in parallel. RL and Z are connected in parallel. You apply that series and parallel combinations, right? And if you have connected anything here at this side, right? Suppose this is one resistance R1. So now here also the analysis is simple, right? Because simply parallel series combination you have to apply. But the problem will come if you connect something between the input and output. If you connect something between input and output like this, we have connected some resistor, suppose R2. So now this R2 will give us problem for the solving of this two-port network, right? It will give us some trouble to solve this two-port network, right? So under this condition, if you find this type of circuitry, then we should apply the Miller theorem, right? We will see one example in coming lectures. We will find that this situation will arise under certain condition. Then to solve that, we have to use the Miller theorem. Okay, right. is a hanged. Okay. So now analysis using Miller's theorem. Right? So this is our figure number 1. This is our figure number 1. Two-port network with common impedance Z. Right? Here,
Sir,
yes, yes. Yeah, you are able to see the PPT. So Z makes analysis complex. Right? Because it is connected to input and output port both. Input and output ports both. Right? So now what we will do, by using Miller's theorem, we shall remove this Z and connect a new impedance only at the input and output side. So now what we will do, by using Miller's theorem, we shall connect impedances only at input and output ports, right? So this Z we will remove and we will connect a new impedance at the input side and at the output side, right? So if we are able to do this, right? If we are able to do this, then the simplification of this two-port network very simple. Only we have to apply the series and parallel type of combination rules to solve these impedances, right? That's all. Because right now it is giving trouble because it is connected to input and output both. But if anyhow we are able to replace this Z with some equivalent Z, which is connected to only input side and only output side, then we can do that, right? So the thing is, first, when Miller theorem is used, when a passive component is placed between input and output of the two-port network, right? So this will give us the trouble. So what we have to do, we have to remove this Z and we have to connect a new Z, new impedance only at the input side and output side, right? So this analysis we will do, and when we will discuss about the pi model, right? We have done the H parameter model. In the next, this is the last topic of third chapter, but this will be useful in the fourth chapter when we will do the pi modeling of an amplifier, right? Okay, yeah, done. It is over now. I'm completing. Device stop recording.